Hey everybody, Doug7 here. Welcome to a really cool Steal This Lick video. I'm taken from the Nichols DVD that I did a little while back. This is actually the first lesson in the video. Through that video, I covered a lot of his unique approach that he had with embellishing making up his own melody off the melody in the song. I loved how he approached that. And he always added the right mixture of jazz tones and notes like that. So I had to document it in a DVD program, you know. In the DVD, I cover a bunch of simpler licks, kind of like the one you're going to see today. And then ones you can get your head wrapped around a little bit. And then some amazingly advanced stuff that he did that was really challenging for me to learn and teach as well. But I've been able to kind of conceptualize a lot and bring into my little simple learning system a lot of what he did, and I think it'll help you understand his approach in ways that you would have never understood it on your own by, you know, the rewind button being wore out or whatnot. So we go through a bunch of his licks, easy and hard, and then there's a couple solos and turnarounds and just cool things that he did with the guitar. So today's lick is no different. I'm going to play it for you here in a second over just the C backing track, and then I'm going to explain a couple things about it. I'm only thinking around two shapes, and knowing these two shapes and how they mingle together and how he uses the notes of just a pentatonic scale like this to really mix and fuse jazz into it and things like that is just incredible. And I think you'll instantly see how simple a lot of this stuff is with this approach, all right? And then we'll add a little bit of technique to it, change it up a little bit, and then we'll do it in some different keys, and then we'll go from there, all right? So let's hear the lick real fast, and then we'll talk about it in a second. All right, I love this lick because there's so many really cool things that he's doing with this that you can take and add to your playing. You don't have to do the licks that I show you naturally. I'm always saying stuff like that. You don't do the lick and learn the lick and that song and that key and things like that. This is a concept that you can add to your bag, all right? So, like I said, there's only two shapes that I'm thinking from, and that's the C pentatonic right here. And the blues. Okay, and country is always mixed with blues notes and blues with country. Okay, in this case we're adding some cool jazz notes. The other shape is the B flat triad. So take your C triad and move it down a whole step. Sounds really jazzy. That's a C11 or whatnot, but I always think around C because that's the root key that we're playing from. So I'm gonna call this the 7 flat major of C because it's the dominant 7. Okay, kind of sounds like a C7 to me. So I'm gonna call it the 7 flat. All right. So 7 flat and the C pentatonic blues. Okay, that's all you really need to know about this. Now, that's the easy way of looking at it. So kind of see these two shapes. Just kind of play around. All right. And just kind of play around with the notes of those two shapes and kind of get familiar with them. The first thing that comes to mind with this is the pickup notes. It screwed me all up because I'm not used to doing... I'm used to only hearing that with a certain downbeat. And I'm sure a lot of you know what I'm talking about. The downbeat is that 6th note. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's the first thing I had to wrap my head around first. It was so freaking hard to make that the pickup note. The downbeat, not the pickup note, the downbeat. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And the reason I'm not using my pinky, I think I did it in the example. I alternated using no pinky and then using the pinky. My pinky, it hasn't always been that cooperative with the rest of the fingers, and it just got a little dirty to me, so I reverted back to, but the best way to do it is practice both ways, all right? Get all your fingers working together, including you, Doug, 7. It's hard to do. So here's that lick kind of slow. 2, 3, 4. And it's kind of swing. The best way to learn this lick is in bites, okay? So 3, 4. 3, 4. 4. That's hard enough. 3, 4. 4. Three, 4. 3, 4. Okay, and I'm not going to go through the whole practice routine right here, but that's how I learned this, and that's how I learned just about everything. I figure out the shapes, and then I kind of familiarize myself with the shapes and the scales around those shapes, how they relate to the key of C in this case. And then I start building the lick that I'm listening to or learning. Now I did it the old-fashioned way. There was no tabs on this, of course, but I don't ever use tabs anyway. I always just find a way to slow it down if it's too crazy, or if I just listen to it a zillion times and familiarize myself with the shapes and things like that. Now let's learn a technique you can use to make this shine a little bit and to really embed this into your muscle memory, all right? All right, here's where it gets fun, okay? And for real. This is how I learn everything. This is my process, and this should be yours too, because that lick is useless to you other than learning the concepts, the shapes, how the mixtures happen, and what context to use. Here's another way to really drive it home and work on this, all right? Now I'm going to exaggerate this practice, but what this is adding a technique where we only concentrate on hearing certain notes out of this lick. Now I'm exaggerating, like I said, but I want you to play with it like that. Exaggerate it. Be sarcastic about it. Okay, that's just a simple demonstration of how I will work on something for 10 hours. that one lick. And out of that kind of practice is born a zillion ideas, all right? It gets you out of the rut. It gets you creative. It turns on that part of your brain that says, screw these tabs. You know, I'm crumbling, and now I know this lick well enough. And even if you don't know it well enough, play around with it like that. Like I said, the actual notes that we learned aren't as critical. You'll never need that lick, all right, in its entirety like that. But what you can take from it is gold. You know, there's treasures of things you can do with that. Play with this backing track, all right? I'm going to close that out. I could, you know me, I could get started forever. What I want you to do, there's a link below this video. If you're on YouTube or my blog or somewhere like that, there's a link below this video in the description or the details section where you can download all 4 parts. All right, I give you the tabs and I give you the backing track, and it's pretty cool. It's just like a little swing, you heard it. And I want you to really work on this. And there's a section after I play a few lines of it where it's just nothing but the track. You can have fun with it, put it on a loop, play with it for hours. All right, you can get all 4 sections of the video and the tabs and the backing track. Just follow that link and follow the instructions on the next page, all right? Get the Roy Nichols video if you don't have it, and share, like, post this, embed it, do whatever you got to do with it to get it out there if you know anybody that you think would like this kind of lesson. It really helps me out a lot. Comment below if there's a spot to do that in on YouTube or Facebook, wherever this video may appear in the near future, I don't know. Thanks so very much for being with me. I'm going to take you out with the lick again. Oh, I wanted to show you something else. Daggone it. Crap. Here's the second thing I want you to do with this. You know the shapes and you know the lick. Change keys. The way I do this is I start down here in A and just have it in my mind. Get a drum track or something like that. 3, 4. Then go up to C. Up to D. Then E. All right? Practice that over and over and over again. All right? I can go on forever. You know how I do when I get started. Practice that in each of the main major keys. A, you can do B if you want. A, C, D, E. Keep going on up if you want. Practice that in every keys and do it over and over and over, and you'll be amazed at what other things are developed in your hands and in your mind and your coordination, your knowledge of the fretboard, your knowledge of how to play in and out of different key changes and such. Thanks again. I hope you made it this far, and I hope to see you inside the Roy Nichols videos and the other videos that I do. Thanks again.